This patina might smell, but it certainly doesn't stink. I'm James. I'm here at UNT's Metalsmithing and Jewelry Studio, but even if you don't work in the studio, I think this basic information about the liver of sulfur patina will be really useful for you. But I will deal with some of the specifics that we have here in the studio. So again, safety first. We have these wonderful ventilation snorkels that we put in place near any area that we're working with chemicals, such as this patina. I really love the liver of sulfur patina. I think it's really versatile on a variety of different metals, and in the scale of toxicity, a really nice low level of toxicity with that patina. So if it's mixed up, if you're working in the studio, there might already be some mixed up here in this bottle, and you can just add it. You can turn on the hot plate. Make sure that you keep it at the lowest temperature necessary, definitely not boiling. But if nothing is mixed up and you need to do it yourself, we'll go over that. We have an electric tea kettle here where I've already heated up a little bit of water. So we'll put that in the bottom of the pan here, have that ready, and then we'll go and we'll be working with the chunks of liver of sulfur. So we'll need to mix that up. That is here under the cabinet. Has its own little bottle. We might keep it contained there. And I tend to mix up my liver of sulfur relatively weak because I would rather have it work slowly and watch as the subtle color shifts happen, as opposed to making it really, really strong. You dunk it, and then it happens, the reaction happens too quickly, it's very thick, and can even flake off. So I know some students get a little bit of a rush towards the end of a project and they just want to get things done quickly, but really the difference here is just a matter of minutes. So it's really worth kind of slowing it down. So this is the container for the solid bits of liver of sulfur. So we have a nice little opener here. You can pry that off, and because it has elements of sulfur in it, it is going to smell a little bit like rotten eggs, so don't be alarmed. If for some reason it doesn't smell at all, then your chunks of liver of sulfur have gotten really old, and you want to consider replacing that. So again, since I like to mix things up very weakly, I will pick a very small chunk to throw into the boiling water. We have separate wooden or bamboo tongs just for working with liver of sulfur. So there is a tendency for people to mix up their pickle tongs and things like that, but you want to keep those separate and only be working with the wood or bamboo tongs. And just as a reminder to not use these when handling hot metal, because they will burn, obviously. So we have that chunk. We want to seal this back up. So again, the chunks stay good over a long period of time. We'll put that away a little bit later. We want to just mix that chunk into the water, and it should color the water just like kind of a nice, I'm not sure if you can see there, but like a nice little bit of a kind of a chartreuse, a little bit of a yellow green. And we don't yet have the ability to have smell coming through the videos, but there is that slight smell of sulfur. So if you're not smelling anything, then it really isn't going to be active for what you need to do. So I have my piece of copper that I'm going to use as a test tile. I've cleaned it thoroughly. In fact, this has been sandblasted. And if you're handling your metal, only handle it by the edges so that you don't get oil from your hands on your piece, and that'll affect the finished patina. So we have the hot plate on. The solution, like pickle, works a little bit better when warmed. So I'll tend to sort of just dip and see how that solution is working. And you can see very quickly, with the copper, you start getting some nice browns, some shades of purple and things like that. So patina is not paint, it is a chemical reaction. So it's gonna be a general sort of all over treatment, as opposed to paint where you're gonna isolate it with a brush and things like that. So I tend to work depending on the piece, and if it has textures and things like that, I'll work back and forth where I'll do a basic patina on the piece, go back through with a very fine steel wool, bring up the highlights, maybe patina it again, and just kind of work back and forth slowly until I develop the finish that I want on the piece. And then once you're there, you do want to seal your piece so that the reaction doesn't continue. Until you seal it though, a great way to stop the reaction is just rinsing it with cool water, and that'll slow down or stop the reaction on your metal. And let's say I'm all done with this, so I will take it aside and deal with sealing and finishing that piece in another video. Let's say you're working in the studio, the solution is no longer working and completely spoiled. We do have a chemical collection area, and so we have a separate bin here for used liver of sulfur. So you can take that solution, dump it out if it's no longer active. If it still is active, you can let it cool down and then replace it into the storage bottle for future people to use with their pieces. So I think that covers the basics of liver of sulfur. There's lots of great information out there online, particularly about variations of combining liver of sulfur with other materials that work really well on silver. So, but I just wanted to cover just the basics just to get you started with liver of sulfur today. So good luck.
If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you can hear from me when I post future videos. Thanks for stopping by.